Welcome to week 5 here at PSHS 6240 here at George Washington University. So just a couple announcements. Next paper is due February 12th. And if you are briefing in your group 2, it's February 9th. February 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll send a Zoom link out. The WebEx was a little choppy last time, so I think Zoom might be a better way to go. So again, February 12th the paper, February 9th for the at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the briefing. And then the Capitol Hill case study. So many of you did this for your paper, and I presume there's a lot of interest in Capitol Hill and what happened on January 6th. For my in-person class, we actually do a terrain walk where we go on the Capitol Hill grounds and we walk and we ask the questions. What could have been done better to secure? What could have been done for better preparation? Was there a point where more lethal force should have been initiated? So I do that for my in-person class. I want to try and do that for here. And what I want to do that is on the 23rd, February 23rd, we'll do it online. And we'll do it via Google Street View. So, so we obviously can't go to Capitol Hill, and I know people are probably out of town, but we'll try and do it on Google Street View with videos appropriate that show the riot as it's taking place. So when you respond to this, please let me know if you're interested, and if you can make it. And what we'll do is, so that group 3 will brief, and that'll be Thursday at 9 p.m. They'll brief for 30 minutes, and then for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we'll do the terrain walk afterward. So if you can make it, please let me know. And I think I'll depending on the interest, I will actually assign that as a final paper topic going forward. So if you're going to do your final paper and you want to do it on the intelligence failures related to Capitol Hill, please attend or please show interest that you're going to attend, and I'll take it from there. So again, we're going to do that on the 23rd, February 23rd at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll do it again via Zoom. So paper overview, everyone should have gotten it back. Again, a little too much background. Please just get to the point. I know what happened at Orlando and Capitol Hill and at Fort Hood. Your paper would have been better organized instead of starting with history to go into the actual facets and use the history to argue your point. Do not repeat the definitions. I know what Hoffman said. I know what the DOD definition is. Many of you just kind of did the definitions or the USC law. I actually kind of want a little bit more of your opinion. I don't want to say your opinion, but your thoughts, because there's, as we talked about, there are shortfalls in the DOD definition, the NCTC definition, etc. So I want, when you're coming up with, is this terrorism, is it not, I do want you to think through, based on the lessons we went into, could this be terrorism or not? If you're going to talk Capitol Hill, and if you're going to talk that in the final, you have to ask the question. Many of you said it was terrorism, but there was no terrorism charges. And that's fine. Just like I said, sometimes the law is not adequate to define terrorism. But you have to explain, this is why the charges were short, and this is why the charges should have been terrorism, because of the lethal attack, because of the use of violence, because of the desire for a political goal, whatever your facets were. You have to get into that level of detail. And then finally, passive voice. I don't mean to act like your 8th grade English teacher here, but a lot of people talked about passive voice, and I think people think they know what it is, but they don't. This first sentence here is passive, because it goes direct object, verb, subject. This is active. Subject, verb, direct object. So everyone kind of see that. A passive sentence is when the direct object is at the beginning of the sentence. Active sentence is subject, verb, object. I would recommend just labeling your your sentences as if you were in 8th grade English, so you can get a little bit more, figure out what's passive, where the direct object could be go, or where it is now. So just keep that in mind going forward. So week 4 review. Again, we talked about terrorism adaptation. Will ISIS be successful, or why was it not successful? And we talked about that pattern, the schisms in ISIS, or in terrorist groups in general. And the question is, will it be successful? Can we apply those schisms to Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, etc.? What are the variables? Why were certain groups successful? Others failed. And it's not because of their cause. There's a lot of great causes out there that didn't resonate because of problems in leadership or lack of a media strategy. I ask, what are the variables? And then are we seeing this schism again in some of the future terrorist groups that we're seeing now? And we talked about WMD terrorism, which will be your paper. Dirty War, again, really explained well the law enforcement response to a radiological attack. Om Shinrikyo case study, again, we asked why Om was successful while Al-Qaeda and ISIS were not. And then finally the Rajneeshi case study, which I said the documentary, or you saw a clip of the documentary. There's actually a Netflix documentary called Wild Wild Country that goes into it in a lot more detail. And if you want to know organizational failures or organizational reasons why certain things occur, I would watch that documentary. Just keep in mind it's not friendly. It's not family friendly. So don't have your kids in the room, as I learned the hard way watching that documentary. Okay, so paper 2, due again next week. 1,500 words max. If it's 1,510 words, don't hand it to me. All right, concise writing is the key point of this. As I said, designed to be concise. You might need to do some research, but I'm not looking for a huge, like a term paper research. This is going to occur like it is in the real world, where your boss sees this, asks you a question, and then you have to do some quick searches, get some good sources, and spit out an answer. In the real world, you get like a couple of hours. Here you get a week. So threat scenarios, you have the AQAP ricin, Sirius Sarin. The article is now under a paywall. I'm going to see if I can find another one, but I would recommend just paying the $1 and cutting, making sure you download the article and then don't continue to subscribe. So just keep that in mind going forward. And then ISIS is Plague. That laptop of Dune, is Plague going to be a threat? And you're going to ask, is this a threat? Why or why not? And, how can an adversary produce, transport, and disseminate the agent? So you do have to get in a little bit of the I don't want to say too much of the technical weeds, but you do have to cover some of the science in depth. And unfortunately, because of this compressed week cycle, I can't give you just a week to do this. You have to do your other assignments too. So you have the Monar and Van Evera, which talk about the early parts of 9/11 and counterterrorism policy. The Zakaria, which talks about counterterrorism policy in the Muslim world. If you remember the Zakaria article you read in week 3, this is kind of the bookend to that. The PBS Frontline. So this covers Counter ISIS by the European Union. Great documentary. And then the discussion, you can talk about U.S. and Israeli counterterrorism strategy. So please, again, there's no breaks for this, so please go through this. And if there's questions or issues, please let me know.